we're going to introduce applications, which are just another way of saying word problems, in which we're going to take an English sentence, translate it into an algebraic sentence, which is an equation, solve the equation, and then answer in words. But before we do that, let's just practice translating. There's a couple sneaky things about this. We're translating from English into algebra. Look at this phrase, 6 times a number plus 2. You can think of a number as being an unknown number. 6 times an unknown number plus 2. How would you translate that? Well, you got a multiplication and an addition. You could call it 6x plus 2 or 6n plus 2, whatever variable you want. Let's try another one. 4 times the sum of a number and 2. Now when you see the sum of, those words, think of it as the quantity. You're actually multiplying the whole quantity of the number plus 2. So there's parentheses here. 4 times the sum of a number plus 2. Once you think you got it translated, read it back and see if it makes sense. 3 minus a number. Now with subtraction you got to be really careful, because the order is important, isn't it? That would be 3 minus x. 5 less than a number. Think about it. 5 less than a number would be x minus 5. A number subtracted from 2. It's being subtracted from 2, so that would be 2 minus x. 4 is subtracted from twice a number. So 4 is subtracted from, so it becomes 2x minus 4. Why don't you try these last 3 on your own. Hit the pause button. Go ahead, hit the pause button, see if you can translate these. Now this first one, twice a number is 11. There's an equal sign there. Is means equals, so you should have had an equal sign there. The second one, 3 less than a number is 5. Remember, it's 3 less than a number. So you're subtracting 3 from x equals 5. And the last one should have been 2x minus 5 equals 9. Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do here, in the homework, you see an equation, or you see a sentence, an English sentence. You're going to translate that into an algebraic equation, which is an algebraic sentence, solve it, and then answer in words. Alright, so if you read this very carefully, it says, when 25 is added to 3 times a number, the result is 34. So this is what this says in algebra. Now when we solve these here, let's see if we can do a little bit in our heads. The way we'd solve this is to add negative 25 to both sides, right? And then divide by 3. Let's do that in our head. What do you get on the left side if you add negative 25? Don't you just get 3x? And what do you get on the right side if you add negative 25? What's 34 plus negative 25? Don't you get 9? So this is the way you would do it in like Math 80. Your teacher might not always do this. They might not always write, you know, minus 25, minus 25. So let's just practice doing that. Let's not write that. See if we do that in our heads. Anyways, the last step, to get x by itself, you would divide this side by 3 and this side by 3. The answer is x equals 3. Don't forget to answer in words though. The number is 3 is what you'd say. Okay, so let's do a few more of these and then I'll give you some to try. How about that? The key is translating it right. Alright, so this one, let's see. 7 minus a number is equal to the number plus 1. So it's 7 minus the number. So you get 7 minus x is equal to the same number plus 1. So there it is. That's the equation. Now when you solve this, you change the additive form. Let's see. Let's get the x's on the right. So we're going to move the x's over to the right. So if we do that first, wouldn't we add positive x to both sides? If you add x to this side, doesn't it cancel with this? You just have a 7. But if you have x to this side, doesn't that make this a 2x? So you have 2x plus 1 on the right side, and you have 7 on the other side. So we're going to get 2x by itself. Let's get rid of this 1. Let's add negative 1 to both sides. If you add negative 1 to the right side, you have 2x. If you add negative 1 to the left side, you have 6. Now we just divide both sides by 2. So you should have gotten x equal 3, but don't forget to answer in words. The number is 3. Okay? Let's try a couple more. This one says, when 4 is subtracted from half a number, the result is 6 less than the number. My advice here is find the equal sign. The equal sign is right here. The result is, so you just got to translate each half of the equal sign. When 4 is subtracted from, so it becomes, when 4 is subtracted from half a number, the result is 6 less than the number. So that's what you should have gotten for the equation. Writing it in additive form. Now again, let's see if we can do this in our heads. If we get the x's on the left, shouldn't you add positive 4 to both sides? Well look, if you add 4 to this side, it's gone. What do you get if you add 4 to this side? you should have this. You get x over 2 left, and you have x plus negative 2. Now we're trying to move the x's over, so we're going to add the negative of x to both sides. When you add negative x to this side, you just have negative 2 left. But when you negative x to this side, you can't combine them until you get the LCD, which is 2, isn't it? So we're going to multiply this by 2 over 2. So when you do that on the left side, don't you have x over 2 plus negative 2x over 2? I get negative 1x over 2 equals negative 2. And then the very last step is to get x by itself. You multiply by the reciprocal, just like we were doing before, which would be 2 over negative 1. 2 over negative 1. On the left side you get x, but what is, you get negative 4 over negative 1, isn't that just 4? That's what you should have gotten for there. Don't forget to answer in words, the number is 4. Okay, one more, then I'll give you some to practice. How about that? They get kind of a little bit more involved, but if you practice them, they're not that hard. If twice the sum of a number in 5, remember there's parentheses there, is subtracted from. So you have twice the sum of a number in 5, but that's being subtracted from 12. So this is what you end up with. The result is 4 less than the number. So when you solve this, you change to additive form. Use the distributive law. We get this. Combine like terms. Again, let's do this in our head. We're going to get the x's on the left, numbers on the right. So let's get rid of that 2 first. Let's subtract 2 from both sides. You should have a negative 2x here and a negative 6 on this side. Also, you have the x still. Now when you move the x over, don't you add the opposite of x to both sides? So if you add negative x to this side, you should have negative 6. If you add negative 6 to negative 2x, you have negative 3x. Divide by negative 3. When you divide both sides by negative 3, you should x equals 2. The number is 2. Okay, why don't you hit the pause button. Try these on your own. We'll go over these in just a minute. Make sure you translate to an equation, solve, then answer in words. Okay, for this first one, it says twice the sum of 7 and a number is 16. Find the number. So when it says twice the sum of, you should think parentheses. So you should have gotten 2 times the quantity, 7 plus x equals 16. Use the distributive law. Let's get the x's on the left side. So let's add negative 14 to both sides. When you add negative 14 to this side, you just have 2x. Negative 14 to this side, you should have 2. So x equals 1. When you divide by 2, the number is 1. On the second one, 6 less than 3 times a number. So there's your equal sign. How would you translate 6 less than 3 times a number? Wouldn't it be right there? Is 5 less than twice the number. So that's what you should have gotten when you translate it. Change to additive form. And let's get the x's on the left side. So let's add negative 2x to both sides. If you add negative 2x to this side, you just have negative 5. Actually, I didn't do that. I wish someone would tell me what's going on around here. Well, actually, we got rid of the negative 6 first. So let's add positive 6 to both sides. If you had 6 to this side, you should have had 3x. If you had 6 to this side, you have 1. Now let's move the 2x over. Let's add negative 2x to both sides. On this side, you just have 1. On this side, you have x. The number is 1 again. On the last one, this one's kind of hard. It's really hard. When twice the sum of 3 and a number, so that's 2 times the quantity 3 plus x, is subtracted from 5 times the sum of 6 and twice the number, the result is 0. So the equation looks like this. If twice the sum of 3 and an unknown number is subtracted from 5 times the sum of 6 and twice an unknown number, the result is 0. Change to additive form. Use the distributive law carefully. Combine like terms. You get down to this. Now, let's add negative 24 to both sides. And the last step is to divide both sides by 8. You should have gotten x equals 3. The number is 3. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.